Hello, it's Friday. Been out working in the garden, and I wanted to stop and make a short little video on things that you can do to make your garden grow. I have two number ones. I have number one for making your garden grow, and then one thing that I think is number one for the garden. The number one thing that you can do to make your garden grow is compost. Gotta have compost. You need it's feeding the foundation of your soil. It puts in those organisms, those microorganisms that you need in the soil, and puts it to work for you. It helps your plants when you're planting. It helps them from going into transplant shock. Because there's quite a few plants. If you're planting plants in your garden, starting them indoors and then planting them out, there are some things that don't like to do that, and they will go into shock. But compost, a good healthy compost, will help prevent that. It feeds, like I said, the foundation of your garden soil. Compost is the number one most important thing that you can do for your soil. So be sure you're getting a good, rich compost. If you're getting it outside your homestead, I would encourage you to start one of your own. No matter what size home you have, you can have a composter. You can get them small. You make them yourself. You don't have to go spend hundreds of dollars to buy one. Make it yourself. We've made all ours, and most of it's been from reused wood. You can start with a small one, or you can make them as big as you want. So just make it for your home. I'm sorry, I'm getting attacked by gnats. It is Texas in the heat. But make it accommodate your area, your home area, and get a compost pile going. It's one of the most important things you can do. All the refuse from your garden, nothing should go to waste. It should all go into that compost. The food scraps in your home, go into that compost. Leaves from your tree, go into that compost. Now, I wouldn't say the limbs unless you have a wood chopper. If you have a wood chopper, you can chop those up really good. They can go in there, but they take a little longer to compost than anything else. So I would put the leaves and I would put the chips in a different pile. That's just me personally. Put those in a different pile because that's going to be your mulch, and that you need. And you really want your mulch to be kind of composted down before you put it on your soil. And that again is just my opinion, because if you just put the raw mulch down, the raw wood chips down, it takes forever for those to compost into your soil. But if you have them already starting to compost down, and you can buy them like that. Here we have Texas Native that have been composted down. They're already starting to compost. So you can get those in your area. And thank you, sweetie. I'll call them back, okay? Okay. The phone. You always got to get that phone, right? So start a composter. And second, going with that compost, connected with it, chickens. If you don't have chickens, I would encourage you to get chickens. You don't have to have a rooster. You just get your 2 hens. Number one, you're going to get fresh eggs. Much better than anything you can get in the store, but you're going to get manure, and that manure you can put into your compost. And you need that in your compost, and so why not have it in your own yard? And almost everywhere, now there are some HOAs that won't let you have chickens, but most every place else will let you have chickens. Maybe not roosters, they'll let you have chickens. They do have numbers, so be sure you check with your area about the rules and regulations about animals in your backyard. But most every place will let you have chickens nowadays. So get 2 chickens for the compost so that you have that manure to put back in it. Now our chickens, they're little workers for our garden because they work our compost. We put a lot of it in there with them first and then move it to the compost. But they'll get up in the compost and they're just a working and a digging and a pooping and all that stuff in there. So they're helping out with that compost. The chickens are workers for your garden. Besides the fact that they're some of the cutest little creatures that God created. I love my chickens, and they're so diverse. I mean, you can go online and pick out so many different kinds. Find the kinds with the looks that you like, and those are the ones you get. Now another thing, and this also goes with the compost, so you see how important compost is, you know. This one also goes with the compost, and that's the chop and drop. Because when you're chopping and dropping, like I talked about with the comfrey and the black-eyed peas, when you're chopping and dropping, you're composting in place. And that's an important thing, because usually when you do that, you're doing, it's something that has gone up and pulled out the minerals and the vitamins and the nutrition from your soil, and like the comfrey, really deep, and then it's putting it right back on top for it to seep back down in, and this time covering the roots of your trees and your plants and different things. When your leaves fall, don't bag those up and throw them away. Bag those up, put them in your compost. Bag them up and move them to your compost. Wouldn't suggest sticks and stems and branches that you pull off. If you've got a wood chopper, chop those up and start a mulch pile. But don't put them in your compost pile. It takes too long for those to compost down, which is what you want your wood chips to do, because if you don't, it takes too long for them to compost into your ground. If you put fresh wood chips on, you want to get wood chips that have already started composting. And when you call around to get wood chips delivered, you can find places that do that, already have it doing that. And then another thing that you can do for your garden that will help it grow better is save your seeds. Because like this habanero plant, we save the seeds from this, take our best habaneros and take the seeds from those. We're getting some really good seeds, and then next year we'll plant. And this plant has acclimated to our area. It has acclimated to our soil. So next year when we plant it, and this is not the first year, but the second year we plant it, the next year it will do even better, because it's already acclimated to the area and the soil, the temperatures, and then we save those seeds, and then the next year it's going to do even better. It's that way with every plant that you have. Save the seeds, use your seeds next year, and you'll have better plants for it. Another thing with the seeds is share your seeds. Share them with your neighbors in the areas, because they have the same temperature and everything that you have, so their seeds are acclimated to the area also. Make sure they're non-GMO seeds, and you don't want GMO seeds in your garden. Number one, they're not going to grow really for you, so but make sure they're non-GMO seeds, and share. Swap with them, say I've got a lot of this type of seed, what do you have a lot of? And share the seeds with your neighbors. That's a fun thing to do, and you get diversity in your garden, and that's what you want, is diversity. Because it's the diversity of plants that's going to give you the multiple nutritions that you need in your body. You can't get what you need in the stores anymore. I'm sorry, I don't even know that the food you buy in the store can be qualified as food, as far as I'm concerned. But you can't get the diversity that you can get from your home garden, that's for sure. And that diversity is what gives you all the vitamins and the minerals, the nutritions that you need to have a healthy body. There's 10 people in my family, and I grow a garden for my family because I want all of us to be healthy. I want to live a long life. Kids are really having fun, aren't they? Isn't that awesome? I want to live a long life, but I want to live a long, healthy life. Long life is no good if you're not healthy, as far as I'm concerned. So I want to live a long, healthy life, and that is one of the reasons why I grow my garden. And that's the reason I want you to grow your garden, is because I want you to live a long and healthy life. So thank you for joining me today. I forget. I had 2 number ones. This is my second number one. Now this one isn't going to make the soil better or anything grow better, but it will make you happier. And that is, make your garden enjoyable. Make it pretty. Put little areas through your garden that are just special little areas just for you, whether it wants to be a statue or I put sitting areas throughout my garden. And I like those sitting areas because me and my husband will sit somewhere and we'll look out over the garden, and we'll see things that are doing really good, and we'll talk about what we did in that area and why they're doing so good, and we'll see things that aren't doing so good in that area, and we'll discuss where we want to move them to, or maybe why they didn't do good at that time. We put stepping stones through the gardens. The kids love going from stone to stone. And we put lights throughout the garden, because when the sun starts going down and those lights go on, the garden is just beautiful. I love to go out at that time. The grandbabies love to go out. Little Serenity will come in and she'll say, let's go through the path of lights, because they're along the pathways where I walk through the garden checking the food. And so they call it the path of lights in the garden. And they love coming out here. And then when we get to the end, they start the running and everything, and it's just a ritual that we do every evening, and it's initiated by them, and so that's a wonderful thing. So if you have children, think about little things like that, because that's making memories. It's making the garden an enjoyable place to be. It shouldn't always be just the place you go and you work and you dig and, you know, pull up weeds and all that stuff. It should be enjoyable, and it should be beautiful. Make it a pleasant place to be, not just for you, but for your family and for your friends, when your friends come over, so you can show them what you're doing, and hopefully it'll encourage them to do the same thing, whether it's a smaller scale or larger scale. Start small, work your way up. That's what we did, and anybody can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. And that is the whole purpose of this channel, is to show you that anybody can grow a garden if you have the right information. And I'm giving you that information, and so you can go out and put it into works. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Share to get the word out, and if you haven't already subscribed, do that. Have a great weekend, gardeners, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me.